This is Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Lami Ali. You're welcome. We begin from Saudi Arabia, where President Muhammad Buhari Thursday evening hosted some of the traditional rulers on his delegation through the breaking of the Ramadan fast in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. State House correspondent Adam Musambu reports on these and other engagements of the president in the Holy Land.
Breaking of the Ramadan fast, otherwise called Iftar Dinner, is an annual ritual aimed at sharing the blessings of the holy month. It is also meant to promote harmony and mutual understanding between the presidency and a broad spectrum of the society. The monarchs who joined the president to perform the Lesser Hajj in Saudi Arabia were the first to be hosted in the Holy Land. President Buhari, who acknowledged the tremendous influence of the monarchs in the society, urged them to do much more in maintaining peace and harmony amongst their subjects. He also solicited support for the incoming Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration for sustainable growth and development of the country. One of the monarchs spoke to NTA News after the engagement with the president.
All Nigerians, wherever they are, both home and abroad, let us remain in peace. We do not have any other country except Nigeria. If we destroy it, we have no place to live. So my prayer and our prayers is that those who feel angered, let them use due process to handle the matter. At the end of the day, all of us will come together and remain as brothers and sisters in one Nigeria.
President Buhari's tenure is coming to an end. How will you describe his performance in office?
He has done a good job, and I pray that those coming to succeed him will have to do more. Did well in Imo, in Abia, Enugu, Ebonyi, Anambra. The messages are there. More especially the Niger Bridge, which is completed. If you watch NTA, you see most times when the Obi of Onitsha comes out to thank him and appreciate what he has done for us in Southeast.
Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari paid a condolence visit to an elder statesman, Alhaji Aminu Dantata, over the passing of his wife, Hajia Rabi Dantata. The deceased died recently in Saudi Arabia after a protracted illness. The president prayed Allah to grant her Al-Jannah Firdausi and the Dantata family the fortitude and courage to bear the loss. The 91-year-old elder statesman, Aminu Dantata, thanked President Buhari for the sympathy visit and prayed Allah to reward him abundantly. From Makkah, Saudi Arabia, Adam Musambu, NTA News.
Now, the global economy is not devoid of critical developmental concerns as participants at the ongoing spring meetings weigh on solutions. United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed joined a panel of speakers to explore central questions around what it will take to address some of the most critical issues of our time. Leah Katungba Batunde reports that it was a platform to showcase the African leading example.
Existential threats of climate change, impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, rising inflation and increased fragility have injected volatility and uncertainty in the global economy. These realities may continue for a while. Development actors are mobilizing public and private financing, using knowledge, identifying the right policy interventions, working effectively with partners, and scaling up successful development interventions. They said there is a need for international tax cooperation to meet financing gaps that include a $250 billion demand for energy transition.
What we are doing at the UN is to mobilize at the global level on the issues that we can bring to the table, whether it is finance, it is the transitions on energy, on food, and to agree how we will go about landing those at the country level. That's a partnership discussion.
Having an integrated regional market and having access to international energy markets in an inclusive manner is quite key in our energy strategy.
Cooperation is key, and worthy of note is Africa's response to the coronavirus pandemic.
Africa CDC was the best performing intergovernmental organization during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I say that because under the constraints that the continent had, the kind of results that we produced were unprecedented in many ways.
We need to see how we can, in a time of fiscal stress by countries, mobilize the necessary resources, but also tap increasingly into private sector resources so they can accompany our efforts, be it in middle-income countries, be it in the low-income countries.
Accelerating development in an age of global crisis is the theme of this session, and panelists insist partnership on all fronts would help foster solutions to common problems. In Washington, D.C., Liakatung Babachune, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says he is satisfied that the foreign media and think tank institutions across abroad have conceded that they got a wrong impression over the 2023 elections, particularly the presidential polls in Nigeria. The minister stated this shortly after his engagements at Chatham House in London. Anthony Forson reports.
Probably the longest stay outside Nigeria. The Information and Culture Minister was in Washington, United States. From there, he proceeded to London in the United Kingdom. Throughout, he engaged high-profile media organizations as well as think tanks, some physical, others virtually. In all, he capped his engagement in London with his meeting at Chatham House.
The good news is that our mission was very successful. We were able to really correct the imbalance in the reporting, and we are living today with a better feeling because most of the people we met actually agreed with us that they had been misinformed and that they had over-relied on the social media hype. We actually pointed out many things to them. Many of them are not even aware of the requirement to win elections in Nigeria. That it's not just a matter of plurality of votes, and that you must also win a quarter of all the votes cast in at least 2/3 of the states. In Nigeria, that means 25 states. And when we told some of them that Labour Party, scored 1/4 of votes cast in only 15 states, they were shocked. And we told them there was absolutely no pathway to victory for either the PDP or the Labour Party because they did not meet the constitutional requirement.
He equally noted that the foreign media must learn to understand the Nigerian cosmopolitan nature, especially when it comes to election matters.
Again, many of them were confused that, if a Labour Party won 12 states and PDP won 12 states and APC won 12, how come then that the Labour Party was not declared winner? And we explained to them, look, it's not enough for you to win 12 states. What you score in other states are also important. We explained to them that yes, they all have 12 states, but the presidential candidate of the APC came second in 19 other states, and that the margin was very small, and that was why, it was not possible for you to declare the Labour Party the winner.
Lai Mohammed summed his outing in the US and UK this way.
I'm glad that we are leaving US and UK satisfied that we have better informed the people and the perception is changing.
Still on election matters, as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, holds supplementary elections across the country tomorrow, President-elect Bola Tinubu is calling on Nigerians in the areas slated for the polls to conduct themselves peacefully and eschew violence and any acts prejudicial to orderly electoral processes. INEC has scheduled to conduct supplementary governorship elections in Adamawa and Kebbi states, 5 senatorial districts, 31 federal and 58 state assembly constituencies across the federation tomorrow. In a statement, the president-elect says these supplementary elections are as important as the first set of elections, the Presidential and National Assembly poll held on February 25th, and the governorship and state houses of assembly election organized on March 18th. As the last leg of the 2023 general election, he says, Nigerians must ensure that the electoral processes are brought to a final, peaceful conclusion. Tinubu added, like the INEC officials, the candidates and the electorate have a solemn responsibility to ensure that the additional polls are conducted not only freely and fairly, but also devoid of tension, acrimony and violence that will threaten the very fabric that hold the country together. Now, guests on Good Morning Nigeria have reiterated the need for the conventional media to occupy the social media space with true and factual information to counter the fake and false narrative playing out within the Nigerian politics. This, they note, is critical as Nigerians go to the polls for supplementary elections in 2,600 polling units across the country this Saturday. Lydia Sampson reports.
The guests decried the impunity by some politicians and called for more proactive synergy between politicians, the electoral umpire, and security to deepen credibility of the electoral processes. The guests who joined the discussion from selected states where the supplementary elections will hold Saturday are hopeful of a seamless process. They reiterate that those supplementary elections are interventions to get it right. It must not be the norm without holistic approach to review and holding accountable those bent on circumventing due process.
INEC officials who have responsibility to make sure that polls open on time, and the security agencies who support them to do that, because you cannot take materials from the rack to the polling unit without the support of the security. There has to be that collaboration with INEC officials and the security to make sure that polls open on time in the polling units where the supplementary elections will hold.
That if INEC can be true to itself, sanitize the process, provide the materials that are required on time, with nothing at least to cast doubt, we're going to have something that is going to sell, and it will be fair, free, and good enough for us to be proud of.
INEC staff in charge of every polling unit should make sure that only the accredited voters are allowed to vote.
They decry the situation of declaring overvoting when only those accredited are the ones eligible to vote, urging the Independent National Electoral Commission to be deliberate in fishing out complicit officers. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Now, ahead of the supplementary election in Adamawa State, the Independent National Electoral Commission in the state has organized interagency consultative committee meeting on election security in Yola to ensure a peaceful conduct of the exercise. Yusuf Jiga brings us the details.
The Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security brought together top INEC officials and heads of security agencies in the state to fine-tune ways of ensuring rancor-free exercise. Resident Electoral Commissioner Adamawa State, Barrister Hudu Yunus Ari said all necessary arrangements have been concluded for the conduct of the supplementary election slated for Saturday, 15th April 2023. He called on the electorates to conduct themselves well before, during, and after the election as a promised credible and transparent process.
Anybody who tries to bring some glitches to this national assignment, in fact, he will get it wrong. And that is why we're here.
In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Now, sensitive and non-sensitive materials have been delivered to various centers ahead of the supplementary elections in 2 federal constituencies in Akwa Ibom State. Resident Electoral Commissioner of the state, Cyril Omorogbe, says only the backup BVAs will be used for the exercise. Before we bring you that story, we are going to join our correspondent, Simon Asha, who is on location in Yola, to give us an update on the situation as electorates in Yola, Adamawa State, get ready for the supplementary election. Simon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lami.
Situation right now in Yola, Adamawa State.
The situation.
People, yeah. Go ahead.
No, the situation is peaceful and calm here. The is peace and calm here. Everybody is going about its normal businesses, and security has been beefed up without fear of the unknown. People do their things in an orderly manner. And earlier this hours of the day, the Independent National Electoral Commission has distributed both sensitive and non-sensitive materials across the 69 polling units for the supplementary election in Adamawa State, as people are eager to go out and cast their ballot.
All right, gauging
so
from
I can assure you that Adamawa is peaceful. Hello?
Continue,
no,
continue.
Adamawa is peaceful. There is not any much problem. There's not much problem here. People go about their normal businesses. And I was just at the INEC office. That is the INEC State headquarters here in Adamawa State. Security has been beefed up, and arrangement has been concluded for the rerun elections across the 47 wards that comprises 69 polling units in the state, and across 20 local government out of the 21 local government areas of the state.
Now, gauging from the mood across the state, tell us, do you perceive any voter apathy as people prepare to go to the polls tomorrow?
No, I can assure you that I don't think so, because anywhere you go within and outside the state capital where 2 or 3 people are seated, the discussion is all about tomorrow's election. Everybody is eager, is highly anticipated elections tomorrow. People are with enthusiasm, they are willing to go out and cast their ballot, as people are eager to know who becomes their governor, the person that will rule the state for the next 4 years. So I don't think there's going to be any voter apathy come tomorrow, because people are highly spirited in regards to tomorrow's supplementary election.
Thank you so much, Simon.
I don't think so, because everybody.
Thank you, Simon, for the update. Simon Asha on location there in Yola, bringing us updates on preparation for the supplementary elections in Adamawa State. Now, sensitive and non-sensitive materials have been delivered to various centers ahead of the supplementary elections in 2 federal constituencies in Akwa Ibom State. The resident electoral commissioner of the state, Cyril Omorogbe, says only the backup BVAs will be used for the exercise. Clemens Barikui reports.
The supplementary elections for 2 federal constituencies and 1 state house of assembly will hold in 70 polling units in Etemekpo, Ika, Abak and Ikono local government areas where elections were cancelled due to violence and overvoting. A total of 16,000 voters are expected to participate in the exercise. INEC says backup beavers that were not used in the previous elections will be used for the rerun elections.
We have reconfigured the beavers. I wouldn't use the word reconfiguration of the ones that were used. The ones that were used for last election we did not touch. The beavers machines that we are using this time are going to be the backup machines. We had enough backup machines that were not involved in last election. So those are the ones we configured to use for this election.
The police says they are prepared for the exercise with a deployment of 2,053 personnel cutting across sister security agencies.
There will be movement of people to go about voting and all that, but when it has to do with vehicular movement, we will, to a very large extent, restrict this, and we'll carry it effectively as is only customary.
INEC in the state is assuring voters that every modality for a smooth outing on Saturday, 15th April, has been put in place. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We will join Adeola Komiakere in Lagos after the break. Do stay tuned.
And we are now in Lagos. The traditional institution has been closest to the grassroots and custodian of the people's culture, have no doubt over the years made valuable contribution to national cohesion and peace. These values, not taken lightly, is what the National Orientation Agency, NOA, is capitalizing on in furtherance of its Nigeria First advocacy. Larry Belei, who was with the agency during some of the visits to traditional leaders in the state, now reports.
Advancing its message of peaceful coexistence and promoting national unity took the National Orientation Agency, NOA, to the custodians of history and tradition in Lagos as the Director General interface with the Eze Ndigbo of Igbo community, Eze Christian Nwacheko, and the Sake Hausawa of Lagos State, Alhaji Kabiru Garba. Both traditional leaders, vested with the mandate of looking out for their kinsmen in Lagos, promised to work closely with the agency by constantly advocating peace in the metropolitan city.
I've assured the DG and I've told him to take it home to Abuja, where we have given irrevocable guarantee that this peace will settle down from top to bottom.
We always think positive in order and be love. Try and love your neighbor and your people. Forget the tribe, forget the religion, anything. Just be yourself.
The Director General of NOA, Garba Abari, calls on the traditional institution to synergize with the agency by promoting ideals that unite and stimulate discussions, emphasizing the strength inherent in Nigeria's unity in diversity.
We have been engaging with them at different forums, bringing different ethnicities, leaderships to interact, to engage with them, and of course to seek their opinion on how to move this country forward.
Being the closest to the grassroots, NOA sees the traditional institution as a dependable partner that will help to deliver the expected results, promising to have this type of interface periodically. In Lagos, Larry Belei, NTA News.
The theatre does not act as entertainment alone, but holds up a mirror to society to influence introspection. The National Troupe of Nigeria, living up to its billing, has continuously inspired creativity by reviving the troupe's play reading session.
If I am openly asking you to come out and ask for your rights, pardon me, I am only thinking about myself.
Over the years, works of budding and established playwrights have been brought to the fore for it to be critiqued to get the best out of the work before being published.
Well, the essence basically is for us to bring back the culture of reading play texts. Because without the text, we couldn't have good dramatist personages, artists that could be able to portray good characters and then put them on stage.
The 30-second play reading session of the script, Beggar's Opera, stemmed from the writer's frustration of knowing that colonization or racism had nothing to do with the seeming backwardness of the third world countries, but in most cases, lack of good societal orientation and inferiority complex set in our minds from birth by parents.
We all keep struggling. Whether the masses or even the leaders, they keep struggling. So it's the story of Nigerians that I've told, how it appears to anyone, each one of us. And that's why the conversation must continue.
To some guests, it gave them insight into stage drama.
This is my first time of attending a play reading event, and it's quite heartwarming, to see vivid expressions being written clearly in black and white for people to see.
According to theatre practitioners, play reading sessions, when embraced, will help to further instill reading culture among Nigerians, especially in children.
Remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. It's now back to Lami in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Deola. Now, pensioners under the benefit scheme are no longer required to travel long distance for Pensioners under the defined benefit scheme are no longer required to travel long distance for them to be cleared for payments. This is made easier by the formal rollout of I Am Alive, a confirmation solution designed by the Pension Transitional Administration Directorate, PTAD, to ease the verification process of pensioners in Nigeria. Musa Abubakar brings
much in this country in the past. Somebody sat down and looked for how such sufferings may be alleviated and came up with this I'm Alive thing in the comfort of your home, even when you are not literate.
We must commend PTAD for being so innovative. We've gone through a lot of experiences, pensioners in this country generally. I'm going to continue to give support to PTAD and proper collaboration with them.
This, for PTAD, is a game changer that will bridge the cost of hosting and caring for the pensioners during the verification exercise, as well as made the process easier for the senior citizens to access their pension at ease.
Ability of a pensioner to continue to receive pension will now depend on the confirmation by the pensioner that he or she is still alive, using the I Am Alive confirmation solution. In the event that within the 6-month period you do not confirm that you're alive, there's a possibility, and a very strong one, that the pensioner will be removed from the payroll.
A pensioner needs a smartphone or a computer to be able to access the I Am Alive confirmation solution by logging on www.pitad.gov.ng to access the I Am Alive page and follow the process. PTAD says arrangement is underway to enable pensioners have access to health insurance as it continues to deploy available solutions to cater for the needs of pensioners who had given.
From the Special Protection Unit, Base 1, Kanu, attached to a popular singer, Rarara, have been dismissed for misuse of firearms, abuse of power and gross indiscipline. Francis Form reports.
The dismissal of the police personnel followed by complaints from some Nigerians and subsequent findings indicted them, especially on a video widely circulated on Friday, 7th April 2023 on social media, of high-handedness, unprofessional conduct and misuse of firearms while on escort duty. The 3 police personnel were handed down this verdict after their follow-up oddly roomed trial by the Force Provost Marshal.
These policemen here, the 3 of them are deceived, the members of the Nigerian police force as from this moment. It's tough to send the message out there. The Nigerian police force has a system that works. The Nigerian system is still working. Nobody in the police will condone any act of indiscipline or professionalism or gross misconduct. People outside there should understand that most of the men that misbehave outside there who are deviant on the field do so because they are far from us and they think nobody is going to get them. The long arm of the law is catching up, but the deviants we have in the job, the erring officers of the police, and of course, accordingly, they will be dealt with according to the provisions of the law.
Meanwhile, supervising police officers have also been tasked to ensure continuous and detailed lectures of their men to ensure they are well acquainted with the standard operating procedures of the force. Francis Form, NTA News.
We joined Dibabari in Port Harcourt for stories from that end. It's over to you, Dibabari.
Thank you, Lami, and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Rivers State has moved electoral materials for the conduct of April 15, 2023 supplementary elections for 2 federal constituencies to the affected local government areas. Kingsley Amajiri is at the State INEC office to give us update.
This is the venue for the distribution of electoral materials for the supplementary elections that are expected to hold tomorrow in Port Harcourt 2 federal constituency and Gukana federal constituencies. These elections will be holding in 10 registration areas in Port Harcourt local government area, while in Kana federal constituency the election will be holding in 2 registration areas.
These are the ballot papers and the result sheets. We will be distributing them to the various local government from the state office. That is why we have called you to come and look at it and observe the distribution.
The representative of the various political parties are here to witness this exercise, and the State Resident Electoral Commissioner has given indication that there will be restriction of movement in Port Harcourt local government area where this election will be holding.
The entire Port Harcourt city will be restricted. That is what we are assured by the CP.
We started this yesterday with a brief meeting with the REC, where the main sensitive material were all endorsed, signed by the REC for authenticity. So we hope that they are ready to do a good job.
Of course, the political parties here that witnessed the distribution of this material have expressed their readiness to participate in the process.
We are going in for this election and we are very prepared. We are ready. But all I will assure everyone is that when we go and when they are done with the election should be free and fair. You don't need to bully people. You don't need to kill people. You don't need to intimidate people.
We are saying that the INEC should give us a level playing field and that it should be election that people will cast their vote. And when the people cast their vote, the result should be announced as the people cast their vote.
Security agencies are up to the task, and we are sure that it will be a very calm election. People will just come out around the affected areas, vote peacefully, and await the announcement of result by NEC.
But for the remaining parties that are poised for this supplementary election, they are asking that the Commission and the security agencies should provide level playing field for the people to exercise their franchise and ensure that their votes count at the end of the poll. It is at this point I will be returning you to our studios for the continuation of the news. I'm Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
To achieve the desired results during the 2023 National Population and Housing Census, personnel involved must be ready to adhere strictly to the rules and regulations required of them. Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission, Benedict Ukpong, gave this charge at a one-day orientation program for local government area training coordinators and other operational staff in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Kelvin Samuel reports.
Local government area training coordinators, training center managers, administrators and controllers are the people on whose shoulders the 2023 National Population and Housing Census will rest on at various local government areas. Hence, this training on how best to carry out their responsibilities, which they say has better repositioned them to deliver on their mandates.
The census has since left Abuja, left Akwa Ibom as a state, and now is domiciled in the local government area. That is to tell you that we have finished everything, and at the grassroots, we are ready to implement what we had since been preparing for.
Federal Commissioner representing Akwa Ibom State in the National Population Commission, Benedict Ukpong, and the State Director, in their separate speeches, reeled out the importance of the training, encouraging the people to be fully committed to the conduct of a reliable census that will reflect the actual number of people in the country to help for national planning.
The roles of local government area controllers, team center managers and administrators, and field coordinators are enormous, and they cannot be posted to the field without proper understanding of the rudiments of their job.
For us to conduct a credible, reliable, and acceptable census, not just for Nigerians, but the stakeholders and good people of Akwa Ibom State, we must live up to expectation as a commission by sending out our very best to undertake various tasks at different levels.
The training featured paper presentation by seasoned professionals. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
And as our beat from here is back to Lami for continuation of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Dibabari. Now, the Nigerian army has applauded President Muhammadu Buhari's efforts at ensuring a transformed military through the provision of facilities to enhance its operations. The General Officer commanding 6th Division, Major General Olufemi Oluede, stated this as the inauguration of projects at the military cantonment in Citibom local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Evelyn Bodu Epo reports.
The Guard of Honor signaled the arrival of the General Officer commanding 6th Division for the inauguration of projects at the cantonment for effective military operations. The projects inaugurated include a remodeled quarter guard, military police room, regimented sergeant major's office, as well as the brigade's sick bay. General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Olufemi Oluede, on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, appreciates the 2 Brigade for showing enthusiasm to tasks by adding impetus that will proffer enduring solutions in the Army.
So it's always good when we have people in position of authority add value to their constituencies. So I'm actually delighted to be part of this. And I'm quick to say that General Wase, as the commander of 2 Brigade, has done really well, and the army is proud of him.
Commander 2 Brigade, Brigadier General Abubakar Wase says facilities put in place is to alleviate challenges of accommodation for effective productivity, appreciating the state government for donation of 128 hectares of land space for its relocation.
These transformational efforts by the Brigade and the Nigerian Army will greatly enhance the welfare and operational capabilities of troops of 2 Brigade.
The event also featured the symbolic planting of trees in the cantonment. Evelyn Bedu Ekpo, NTA News.
Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association has inaugurated projects at Nats Inter Barracks Model Nursery and Primary School and the Maternity Healthcare Center as the 171 Battalion in Daura local government area. 22nd President of the Association, Salamatu Farouk Yahaya, inaugurated the project in support of wives of other officers. Awal Haliru reports.
The project inaugurated include administrative block, science and laboratory and equipment, multipurpose hall, fencing of the school and a mosque. Similarly, the wife of the Chief of the Army Staff inaugurates a maternity healthcare delivery center at the 171 Battalion in Daura local government to provide intensive system for proper care. She urged the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the center.
It's very small, but it's my own way of showing you love. And also, I enjoin you, I ask you to please put your husbands in prayers. The prayer of a wife is very important.
The Commandant 17th Brigade, Katsina, Brigadier General Adekule Ajosi, applauded the members of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association on the laudable achievement brought to the state. The officers, the soldiers, our wives, our children, our entire family, to encourage us in our fight against banditry. While on her 2-day official visit to Katsina State, the NAOWA president and her entourage paid a courtesy visit to Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari, as well as Emir of Katsina Abdulmumini Kabir Usman and that of Daura Umar Farooq Umar. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
Comfort is in Enugu to lead us with stories from that end. It's over to you, Comfort.
Thank you, Lami. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us in Enugu. The depletion of Nigeria workforce, especially in the medical field, has become a huge source of concern, with a doctor-to-patient ratio now at 1 to 10,000 as against the World Health Organization recommendation of 1 to 1,000. To this end, Chika Ugu takes a look at medical brain drain and its effects on Nigeria's health sector.
It is no longer news that most Nigerians travel abroad either to study, to get proper health care service, or to seek for greener pastures. But the sudden surge to travel to developed countries, especially in the health sector, is becoming worrisome. According to the Nigerian Medical Association rating, no fewer than 50 medical doctors leave the shores of the country weekly in search for greener pastures.
We go to hospital now, we want to do radiography, we want to do physiotherapy, we want to do something. You can't find them. The one you are seeing are just fresh ones.
Public hospitals in the country seems to be the worst hit by this brain drain, leaving fewer specialists and health workers, a situation that is putting pressure on the available ones due to work overload and threatening the healthcare service provided.
Because of lack of doctors, people die. And the effect is that people overwork themselves. Doctors are stressed. The life expectancy of a doctor has been reduced because of this.
The effect of this worrisome trend is that most Nigerians have lost faith in the health sector and seek for treatments overseas, thereby also affecting the country's economy. The question now is, of what use is it for the government to invest so much resources and funds to train doctors only to lose them to other countries? It is therefore the views of many that government provide conducive working environments for health workers and look beyond the minimum wage and come up with a proper welfare package to end the migration of health professionals abroad. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
And from time to time, people fall sick and, in a bid to get momentary relief, engage in self-medication in spite of its effect, which in most cases worsen the situation. In this report, Fortunate also examines the dangers of self-medication seemingly on the increase.
Self-medication refers to all attempts to deal with depression, physical or emotional pain, and weakness of the body, intense emotions with the help of drugs, alcohol, and other substances without the guidance of a doctor. Some of the common reasons for self-medication, respondents say, range from easy access to a pharmacy or patent medicine store, the ability to store necessary medications at home, as well as availability of health or drug information on the internet.
Anytime I feel any funny behavior in my body, I have a pharmacy I always run to. If it's severe like that, I take myself to the hospital.
A medical expert speaks on the effect of self-medication and cautions the public against the act.
The disadvantages are problems like addiction, drug dependence, and then drug resistance. One of the highly abused class of drugs within our environment is antibiotics, anti-malaria. They will say common malaria, common typhoid. In fact, now they say that malaria and typhoid fever are brothers. When malaria grows, it becomes typhoid fever. But that is not true.
No matter how cheap self-medication appears to be, its effect is more costly on the long run. So, when next you are sick, do well to seek medical advice and examination before taking medications. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo, NTA News.
Remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, www.nta.nd/live, and all our social media handle displayed on your screen for update. We'll take another break here. Nationwide will continue thereafter. Do join us again.
You're welcome back. In the spirit of giving to the less privileged in society, Jama'atu Izalatul Bid'ah wa Iqamatus Sunnah Jibwis has extended love to over 700 orphans and widows as part of charity in Kogi State. Abdulsalam Mohammed reports that beneficiaries were drawn from the 10 wards in Lukuja local government area.
The decision of Jama'atul Izalatul Bid'ah wa Iqamatus Sunnah Kogi State chapter to embark on this gesture is to alleviate suffering, especially during the festive season. The rising number of widows and orphans in society, in addition to the high rate of poverty, which makes it difficult for this group to meet their needs, also inform the decision.
But let us obey the sunnahs of the Prophet, so that all other Muslim ummahs, the organizations should come in. Let us partner, and particularly the state government.
The criteria we use is very, very simple. We have our coordinators all across the local government.
The admin secretary of State Council of Ulama, Idris Baba Ango, commended Jibus for the initiative and promised the readiness of the council to partner Jibus in this direction. Others appealed to government at all levels and religious organizations to assist with the provision of aid to the less privileged.
The program should not be left for Jibus alone. Other Islamic organizations should synergize so that it can even be more bigger than this.
I really appreciate. May Almighty Allah reward them abundantly.
Feel happy.
I'm very grateful.
Government and good-spirited individuals are expected to heed to the call for assistance in order to improve the condition of the impoverished in the society. Abdusalam Mohammed, NTA News.
Sports update is next. That's the end of the news, but before we go, remember that the National Population Census is 19 days from now, so avail yourself for the exercise and be counted. Have a good evening.